Alright, let's get this underway.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective
When you're wraithing, I like this aggression by the way, just crossing immediately, and trying to threaten the off angle. It might have been a little preemptive to rush this, like just going straight in like this. But I don't really mind it, to be honest. You kind of need the mentality for Reaper. You might have wanted to wait until your main tank does something first. Either you're Ryan walking at them, and then you group up with that to like for maximum impact, right? Because it's hard. Like dealing with the Ryan pushing you is not too difficult. Dealing with the Reaper pushing at you is not too hard. But dealing both at the same time is like much harder, like an order of magnitude harder. So like, you know, apes together strong or whatever the meme is, right? But in this case, you have a Hammond, so you kind of want to wait for the Hammond to do something, right? Either like boop them forward or boop them back. Either the case, you want to kind of wait for that to happen before you make your play. So, if that's the case, what you can do is like you can walk through a hotel and just sit in a hotel and wait for your Hammond to do something, right? I mean, obviously your Hammond also went there, but like just in general, like instead of trying to wrap statue as if like you have a main tank that's going to make space with you, you kind of want to play the close angle, right? So you either want to play like hotel, right, and threaten hotel. Like you don't have to do anything, you just sit here, but you make people scared, right? Just playing in a hotel, or you wrap statue like you did, but once you get to statue, you just teleport up your clock, right? And now you're on the high ground, right? And now they have to worry about you just constantly being up here. And if you're in trouble, you just wraith and whatever, go grab that mega, and then you come back up, right? And now they have to worry about you potentially being like underneath, right? You can come from here, or you can come from here, right? And now this guy has to watch out for you, right? This Ana, right? She either has to like, if she's smart, she'll either rotate around, like this, to one of these two windows, or she'll drop, right? But a lot of Anas are just dumb and won't even realize this, and you can just walk up and go kill them, right? Yeah. So those are your better options rather than pushing straight in without waiting. In the event in this case where you did push, make sure you grab this health pack on the way out. It's like adds maybe at most half a second on your way back, and it just reduces how much time it takes to get healed. It's just really convenient. It's less of a burden on your supports, like one fewer Ana shot, for example, etc., etc. Once you're here, you're really low, so be really careful with just like trading fire at range. Like you're not going to do anything. You're going to do like you're going to get at most like 4% ult, right? So if you look at this, let's look when you start shooting. Yeah, okay, you got 3%, right? So you got 3% ult trading from range, and the Zarya probably got more. Not more, but like she got more out of the exchange. And I mean, she wasted her bubble, but that's a different story. But you generally don't want to trade like this at range while you're waiting to get healed, because you just don't benefit, right? So if you want to like take time to assess, like you sit behind the statue, you wait, and you figure out what you want to do, right? Do I want to go hotel, or do I want to go clock, right? Those are your two options, really. The third option is to peek out again once you're healed and just teleport behind them, but this range is a little long for that, so realistically it's much better to either walk hotel or teleport hotel. Teleport hotel is pretty strong from here because they can't see it, right? So teleport's biggest strengths are for map mobility, like taking high ground, and also crossing gaps without being seen, right? So normally if a flanker wants to do this in front of the Zarya knows where the flanker goes, right? And can rotate to meet them, right? She can like back up and then go fight them, or call it out and have someone else do that, right? But as Reaper, you can just be like, aha, you see nothing. I teleport into hotel, and the Zarya will be like, I don't see the Reapers, and then you kill you kill her backline, right? So yeah, so if you're going to take a moment to get healed, just reassess where can I teleport to, right? And if there are conditions that need to be met to meet the teleports, how can I like set this up? So for example, if you do want to teleport behind them, how do you set it up, right? And the answer is probably just like walk into hotel, and then get here and like teleport like to the window or something when they're not expecting it, and just drop down and kill them, right? But yeah, as Reaper, like yes, you can play with your team, especially when you're playing rush, but when the enemy team is in scenario A, either the enemy team is like sorry. But in situations where you don't have like a strong rush comp with like a lot of resources to enable the Reaper, you have to play like a true flanker, right? So that's like get up on top of them without being seen, right? Taking high ground and just like showing up from unexpected angles, right? So you got to think in terms of map geometry, and you got to look where they all are. If you look, they're all on low ground, like they're not watching anything, right? So this gives you a lot of opportunity to do whatever you want. You can take their high ground, you can go through hotel, you can like go sneak up on the one guy who's alone, right? Which is like the guy on high ground, so it's even better. Go to high ground, you'll probably just run into this guy and be like, oh, hello, and just kill him, right? She's not even like playing here where she can like see you coming. Like she's playing like here to like, and literally can't see behind like her left, right? So she'd have to hear you, right? So as a result, like again, like yeah, take unexpected angles. You got to flank. Like in your face Reaper is okay, but it's not the best unless you have a team built around it. Alright, most important things here. This was a relatively good flank. It got a lot of value. Like, again, like, just do this as soon as you can usually, because, like, even if you walk, if you poke your nose out and they start shooting it, you just back up, grab the mini, and then try again later, or, like, teleport somewhere else when they're not expecting it, right? So, for example, you poke your nose out, you get shot, you back up, you grab the mini, you come out here, you teleport up your clock, like, as close to this as you can so they don't see it, right? And you come around, they're still watching a hotel, you drop down, you shoot them, right? It's super, super easy. But yeah. So this is a really good flank overall, though. Just like coming out through a hotel. You want to be a little more patient, though. You want to draw as little attention to you as possible on your way in, right? So instead of like coming out and shooting because like you can see them, like try coming out and walking until they look at you, right? So you can see their attention, right? Like their cameras, right? So none of them realize you're here until you start shooting, right? So this guy, the people. If you look at the people who shoot you, it's pretty much just the soldier and the BAP. The BAP doesn't even really shoot you; it just kind of drops the lamp, right? But they don't react to you until you start shooting them, right? So imagine if you look at their cams, they probably can't even see you. Okay, this guy can see you. Is this after you shot him or before you shot him? All right, he can see you out of the corner of his screen, but he may not react to you well. And this guy's the same, right? So just like walk forward a little bit and then start shooting, right? It's actually a surprisingly big difference. It's good focus on the lamp, by the way. If you feel pressured to Wraith, don't overcommit for the kill, right? You should only unwraith here if you have ult. If you have ult right now, it can guarantee a lot of lifesteal. Otherwise, you kind of just want to Wraith and kind of reset with your team, right? So just like Wraith, back out, get behind the car, right? And shoot the Zarya, right? And then you wait for your teleport, and then you teleport from here, right? So like you're behind the car, where can you teleport to? You can teleport to clock. That's a little defensive for like a winning fight, or you can teleport like to the arch behind them, right? That's pretty good. They probably won't expect it, and now you're suddenly really close to them. From behind the car, you can also just teleport to the phone booth, right? Just teleport like right here, and now you give them a choice like fight the Reaper when he comes out, or like fight your teammates or just die. You know this. It's not a great spot to be in when the Reaper's teleporting right next to you and like you don't have a lot of resources. Or thirdly, and probably the best option, is just teleport to the window behind them, right? Teleport here, you drop down, you do whatever you want, right? But yeah, like don't be afraid to back out as Reaper, right? You don't have to go for the kills. When your team's massively up, the way you lose this is by dying, right? Alright, so your team is so basically your team turned it from like a 5v4-ish scenario, maybe even 5v3, to like a 3v3 in relatively short order, right? And you guys know how to win a disadvantageous fight. Or not disadvantageous, but like kind of a rough fight. And you do win, you scrap it out, but if you did lose that fight, it was because you overcommitted. And not just because like a lot of people probably overcommitted, but I'm just saying, if you hadn't overcommitted there, the fight would be won much more decisively, either way, right? Or if the fight went poorly in other ways, you'd be in a position where you could stop it. Sorry, that was like 15 minutes on a one-minute fight. Alright, this is good. So, just have some patience here to like identify your target, like ID your target, and then drop on them, right? So, again, you don't have to rush things because you're playing a character that likes to play fast, right? Take your time. So you get here. Right? Look at where your team is, and look where you are, right? So if you just wait here for a second, the opportunity will present itself. One of your teammates will start doing things, they'll keep walking forward. These guys like might spread out a bit, and you can just drop down and just like two-shot someone. And like, don't be afraid again to get close before you shoot, right? They clearly have not heard the teleport, right? They just haven't heard it, they're not looking at you. Which means that they won't hear any sound you make until either you start shooting or you land behind them, right, on the ground, right? So basically, you can jump, you can land like here, and as you're landing, then you start shooting. But look how close this is to the BAP or the Ana or the Junkrat, right? You get your pick of the target. You're in like a super optimal position. Just take your time and then just blow them up, right? But you start shooting, and then like so your first shot goes to waste, right? You hit the BAP, and then you change targets, And then your second shot was a good meat shot, but now the BAP's reacting, and it also wasn't like very close, right? And now you're in a situation where you're dealing with 3 people at the same time, and now this is no longer your fight, right? Now you gotta run. Ooh, this is not the way to go. Yeah, okay, so again, this is why it's important to like time it for when your team's going in. It's just way better overall. Because then A, there's less people going to be occupied with you, and B, if like you pull 3 people to look at you, now your team has a 5v3, and because your team is probably winning the 5v3 to some extent, Wraith, the enemy front line will be getting pushed back, and you can Wraith into your team, and you have less distance to go, right? But in the event where this doesn't happen, right, they're all focusing, you can't just like Wraith back to your team, like they're just too far away, right? So like as soon as you get here and you fight and you get conked this way, like realistically you're never like this Wraith will take you like how far? It took you pretty far, but like it's never going to get you back to your team, right? So this Wraith from here has to be to like run away, right? So ideally, right as you get conked up in the air, you Wraith, you land on this ledge, and you just start going back to the high ground, right? If you don't make the ledge, just Wraith, run into here, grab the mini, and then either wait for somebody to push you, right? So just wait here, and you might get a 1v1, and you might surprise someone and just kill them. That's always valid on Reaper. Or you just climb the stairs and try and get away, right? But you got to run here. You can't just like run. You can't run towards your team. You have to run in the opposite direction, right?
The pain is over.
Move out.
Again, have some patience. Shoot.
Repositioning.
Right, like the Zarya doesn't see you coming. Imagine if you landed like here, and then you started shooting. She would just explode, right? Take your time with these shots as well, right? Like you just need to make sure the first shot is really good, right? Because the way people die on Zarya is like they just eat like 200 damage they're not expecting, right? So she has personal bubble. You just need to like land and just like be point blank, land one really good shot that takes her down to like 200 health, and then either kill her before she bubbles in time, which can totally happen, or she bubbles, you 2-shot the bubble, and then you kill her anyways, right? But that's how you want to approach this. Well, you did like maybe like I don't know, maybe 50 damage, and then she bubbled. I don't mind like the overall aggression though. It's really important to be aggressive on Reaper. And I just did a review with someone who was not aggressive on Reaper, and it was very sad. But just like I just want to stress, Reaper is like there's not a lot you can do on Reaper in terms of like micro in a fight. So a lot of Reaper is just setting yourself up for success, right? And then once you're in, being really patient, right? So that means like teleport up to this high ground the first chance you get, and you just wait here, right? You just wait, and you camp this spot for somebody to come grappling up, right? If no one comes this way, then you turn around, you start coming back, you crouch walking this whole time or whatever, and then you wait for the enemy team to pass underneath you, right? So like the supports will come up over here. If you're lucky, the bat might even jump up to you, and then you just kill him, right? By the way, they start walking towards to contest or do something, and then you drop, you go for an assassination, right? You want to get as close as you can, you try to blow them up, and then you consider wraithing out, depending on the situation, right? But again, this is how you have to play as Reaper. Like, in order to like get maximum value, you have to like really like you have to play the positional macro game like really really well. Because his hero just as a hero, he doesn't have very many interesting ways to gain value, right? And he's very one-dimensional. Like he has to get close to do things, and he has very limited tools to do it. So you just have to be really sneaky. So running back towards cart here is not the play, right? It's safe, but safe is not really what you should do on Reaper, right? Like, you should really just be like taking their high ground. Because like in reality, like you're going to cap, right? If they run to you, like, sure, you're probably going to find some value, but like, if they don't run at you and you're on point, then what are you going to do on point, right? It just feels terrible. They teleport, just do this earlier, and also not when they're looking at you, because now they know 100%. They're probably not communicating with it. Be really careful about racing back into them. It worked out because they didn't really have the resources to chase you. But like, if you want, like while you're grabbing the health back, just turn around, look to see if they're chasing you, right? If like you see a bunch of people running down this hallway, you can't turn around as soon as you grab the health back, right? You just gotta keep running. But if you see they're not chasing you, they're not even looking at you, then you grab the health back and then you just come back, right? Yes, nice. All right. Always shoot before you ult on Reaper. Just guaranteed value, or not guaranteed, but like free value.
I am on fire.
The Reaper ult itself was a little forced because a couple of them definitely knew where you were. So if you, generally speaking, if you want a Reaper ult, you should pretty much always preemptively like teleport to a high ground first, right? So for example, I mean you were stuck in here, but like for example, if you like came out here and you teleported up here and you jumped on this, whoops, I pressed spacebar to jump and unpause. If you jump on top of this and then drop down, shoot ult, it's a way more reliable ult. Yeah, it'll take longer to set up because you kind of just like walk through this tunnel. But like for example, if like you saw them chasing you initially, as you're grabbing the health pack, so you keep going, and you're like, all right, I have ult. What do I want to do? Just teleport up here, right? Drop ult. It's super reliable, and you're much less likely to die for it in general.
Here they come.
Move out.
Reaper ults from above are really hard to stop. So this TP is probably not the best. Yeah, I don't really mind it actually. Yeah, okay, this TP is fine. Alright, so you just saw that Junkrat use his second concussion mine. So I know you don't really want to fight this Junkrat in this tunnel, but he's not getting healing at this moment. So just like, if necessary, hang around, get some bit of healing from your Ana first. Be like, hey, heal me, or like hit the X button, whatever, get your like full health, and then just push the tunnel because he has no mines. And that's actually a really big deal for pushing him. Because normally the problem with pushing Junkrat is like his damage becomes super reliable in corridors, right? Tight areas. And then he can also just boop you away from him, right? And he can boop you into more shots, right? It's just really messy because like trap in mine or concussion mine is so hard to push into, but he just used both mines and he just used tire, so everything's on cooldown. Right? Yeah, he has nothing, so you can just push into him. Oh my god, the sound. Right. Like pushing this Rhine is like not optimal. Be careful about, yeah, okay. You just gotta respect the hog. If you're not sure if he has hook, you gotta run away from him, really. That's Reaper. Like, you just can't take that fight, right? You gotta be like, if he shows up, if you're both standing fully in the doorway with no option of breaking the hook, right? You just gotta Wraith and run away. You can't stand there and fight. Alright, let's watch one more fight.
Move out.
Never mind. Alright.
Complete.
So key points. Take high ground. You do have good teleport spots. Like just generally, you teleport to the right spot. Just do it earlier. You just take too long to get to the right spot. And you just do it faster, it'll set you up for a lot of success. With Reaper ult, I only saw one ultimate. But whenever possible, initiate from high ground and always lead with a shot. And what else? Oh, one thing to know about the ult is that like it's the AOE is a sphere around you, like above and below you. So if you drop, you can start it like above their head, and you'll be shooting underneath you. So don't be afraid of that. So like drop, shoot down on their head, and then ult, and then like you get all the damage. I'm swinging my hands around in a circle, and you can't see it. What else? On Reaper, don't be afraid to like run away. He's like Reaper's because he's so simplistic. He ends up being very binary, right? Either you're going in and you're committing and you're doing damage, or you're running away with Wraith form, right? And there's not really like an in between where you can like kind of brawl and keep fighting. Like you just kind of run as soon as you start your Wraith, right? You just run unless your team is like winning so hard that you can afford to like fight without a Wraith, right? And by that I mean like as soon as you cancel your Wraith in the middle of the enemy team, you should expect to get like hard focus, right? So you have to be able to survive everything. And this your team has to be winning so much that like you can survive that, right? What else? When you do get a good look, right? You get a good teleport. You're behind them. They can't see you, right? Or you just flanked there and they didn't see you, right? Um, if you're in a position where you can be sneaky or you have been sneaky, right? Keep being sneaky, right? Just walk up as close as you can before they react, right? And when they turn, then you start shooting, right? Or you get in range where you're like you're more or less in optimal Reaper range, right? Where you can 2-shot people like squishies, maybe 3-shot. But yeah, just get as close as you can before like you start shooting. It makes a really big difference in how long it takes to kill people. And it increases your effectiveness by a lot. And if you kill someone, like for example in the on streets, when you're dropping on the 2 supports in Junkrat, if you'd killed one of them and then gotten away, right? Can you imagine how different that game, like that whole streets phase is, right? Now like if you, because like their spawn is like all the way back here, right? Like, so you kill somebody in streets as they're trying to contest Arch, right? So you killed somebody here. You might even be able to kill a second one. Like honestly, if you killed one of them, you could probably kill 2. And then if you get out, right, with Wraith, like you grab this mini or one of the other ways we talked about, right, you can come back here and, oh, forgot to mention, you can also grab this Mega, and then either like, doubling back to go up the stairs is kind of rough, but you can like keep running this way, and then you go up the stairs, and then you're right back where you started, and it's still not a bad position, right? And you're hard to chase down, because nobody likes chasing a Reaper, unless like they have a lot of people. So, in a situation where you do kill this guy, right, now there's 2 people, now there's only 5, now they're 5v6, right? And the card's starting to get through the arch, and now it's going to be a really hard decision. Do we fight this 5v6 and use our good defensive terrain with a Reaper still behind us somewhere, or do we run away and wait for our 6th guy? In which case, the next fight they're going to get is probably like right here, right? Which is like very far away, right? Like, because like, you just look how far this guy's to walk back from the spawn, right? The BAP, the Ana, the Junker, doesn't matter. They're all going to be slow. Junker's a little bit faster, but not by a lot. But, like, look how far away that spawn is from like where the fight is, right? So getting a kill here is a really big deal. So like this is what I mean, like why I'm stressing so much about like things that will help you get kills, because like Reaper's really binary, right? Like he's either in or he's out, right? So when you go in, you want to increase your odds of getting the kills as much as possible, right? And this is why even though Reaper is technically a tank buster, right? Like even though his shotguns are good against tanks, in reality he's much better at killing supports. Because when you're shooting a tank, the support is usually looking at the tank. It can help the tank, right? So even though you have effectively more damage against the tank, if you get on a support, the support has no help, they just die, right? And that's a really big difference. So yeah, I think that's everything I want to talk about. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just let me know. And there we go.